cover the only Super Sons related story in this, and that is the Dan Jurgens story. And as you can see here, I have two covers. One, the regular cover, which I think is absolutely amazing. And last but not least, well, whatever the polybag cover is. I haven't seen what the cover looks like inside this, but what I am doing is working on getting a second one of these so I can actually be able to open one of these up and actually see what the cover looks like. And what I might try to do is I might show what the cover looks like in a short when I get around to that. So for the first cover, I'll now pull out. There's actually quite a bit to this cover. And there's this part right here, and then there's the part on the back as well. Very nice. So for the first cover, I definitely give it a 10 out of 10. It's definitely one of my favorites. I have seen others, but this is the one I was sort of drawn to the most. I still don't know what the cover is going to be like for the actual story or the polybag one. And for that, I have given an unknown out of 10 because I don't know how good it looks. What it actually looks like. Is it foil? I'll soon the answer will soon be found out in all due time. So let's move into the next thing, and that is moving into the story. And this story being done by Dan Jurgens, to which I must admit he did a fantastic job, and I love the fact that he is actually centering this story on family. Something that is definitely missing, especially in a lot of DC comics, and the importance of family, whether it's to the Bat family, the Speedster family, or the Flash family. Hey, even the Wonder Woman family. And of course, there's the Bat family, and we already know what's happening Bat family-wise at the moment with the Batman versus Robin. Some of the first few issues are a little bit hit and miss. I still don't like that Mark Waid uses the word disowned, and because Batman has never disowned any of his sons, and that even includes Damian Wayne. So, as we start to look at the beginning of the story, we've got something happening to one of the occupants who were there at the Doomsday event. And I'll move a little bit further into the story. Absolutely digging this art. And in this story, we actually get to see a bit of a discussion between Lois talking about the events of what happened when Doomsday turned up, as well as what Superman is doing in present day. As things progress, there's a bit of a big fight that happens between them, and of course, with the series of events, Lois Lane does her own investigation. Whilst this is happening, she ends up going to Mr. Creighton's house of location, discovers that he has something connected to actually Doomsday, and for some reason, and I think that this is actually quite interesting within the story, is that this piece of Doomsday, which is also from Apocalypse, actually had a bit of an influence or connection of sorts to this person who was actually going through a bit of a hard time, and in a way it reacted to him and also his body, to which he became Doombreaker. And that is very clever, and I think people forget that in the original Doomsday story, Doomsday himself was actually a creation that came from Apocalypse. And it's almost like, if I were to guess, with what happened with this certain piece connected to Doomsday, that maybe Darkseid was actually wanting to maybe create a combination, somewhat parademon mixed with Doomsday. Just the way some of the things happen in the story, and to see that play out in this story is really interesting. So that's some of the art around the beginning, middle, and of course the end. So for the internal art, I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. Absolutely loved it. Let's move on to the next thing, the story. Do we get any indications of any particular references? No, we don't. About the only references sort of like talking reference points, not actual reference points to the original Superman issue 75, which came out in the time period it came out of. Though that would be perfect for it to be referenced in the story, and because with a story like this, you do want to get the story connected back to the reader to where they can go and actually check out the story to themselves. But let's move on to the now the next area is time, to which the not too distant past. So this is sort of like relating back to a little bit afterwards. It's done quite well with Dan Jurgens here. Fantastic job. I'd love to see more of Dan Jurgens working alongside with Peter J. Tomasi, Patrick Gleason, plus many others that do actually give a crap about the Super Sons and even the Super Sons characters. Moving into the next thing, we have the locations. We have Metropolis. I think it was New York. We also had the public school to which John goes to, and also across town, to which that was actually making reference to an event to which Superman was taking care of, saving some people and helping some people, and also learning a little bit more about the mystery of who this Doombreaker was. Now, moving into the last thing, and that is the cast of characters. We had, in all honesty, we did not have a big cast of characters, but with the cast of characters we had, Dan Jurgens, you can tell that he loves these characters, unlike some writers in the DC Comics. To name one, Megan Fitzmartin, Tom Taylor, that makes two, but list could go on. Bendis. But we know that Dan Jurgens is a better writer than Brian Michael Bendis, along with Peter J. Tomasi. We had someone by the name of Tom. We had Jimmy Olsen. We had Lois Lane. John Samuel Kent. Doomsday, we saw in the flashbacks. And of course, Doombreaker, who we learn is Lloyd Creighton. Well, for the overall story rating of this, I gave a 9.5 out of 10. And thank you so much, Dan Jurgens, for this first story. Absolutely enjoyed it. Well, we'll see you again at Super Sons Fortress of Attitude.